Washington football. Woo! Hello, everybody. Happy Friday and welcome to the Burgundy Zone. I am your host, Kyle, and I am joined by my co-host, Michael Hall. Michael Reed should be joining us here momentarily, but we are rejoined by one of the greatest of Washington, of this organization, Mr. Rick Doc Walker. How are you doing on this hot Friday evening, sir?
Well, it's raining and storming here where we are, and it was it was hot. I mean, at practice today, it was but it's, it's football weather. It's time to go. They had the pads on. Whenever they had the pads on, then I'm there because it's the first real football I've been able to sense in a minute. And the game is designed to play in full pads and to be live. And I'm sorry, but I know they got only 10 padded practices in the collective bargaining agreement. Everything is going on. So it's a new version of training camp for anybody that's my age. And look, I'm jealous. I look at those guys and I go, "Are you kidding me?" But hey, they have a good tempo. They go hard. It's smart. It's well run. And but you got to deal with the injuries. They're shorthanded certain spots. Guys are retiring. Guys get nicked, and that's what this is about. That's why you got almost 100 people, and you got to whittle it down. It's all a battle of attrition. For the young guys, man, if you want to play, and the only way you're going to play is to get reps. And at the tight end position, is highly talented. And, Bates, the two starters are out. The Nick currently, and Cole Turner and Amari Rogers. You're going to hear names that none of us know until we see it. But I'll tell you what, I'm impressed with their work ethic and the way they go about doing business. The team looks uniformed. It's no longer the bozo the clown, guys doing their own thing. So structure, they've accomplished that. But you got to win on the scoreboard. And tomorrow they'll be out at FedEx, and they'll have I think it's good to be at the stadium for guys who've never been. You want to get that out their system. And it's just learning how to work and learning how to depend on your teammates. And so the defense is really interesting to see how they work. Been impressed with a lot of things there, but we're out of experiment time. It's time to get it done and to put it on the field, and that's what we're waiting on.
Absolutely, and that'll be next week going against the Carolina Panthers, the only preseason home game that the Commanders have. But it's funny you talked about it being hot and football being played in this kind of weather. We interviewed Kendrick Golston last week. He talked about during this time, these months, he immediately starts sweating at home because his body knows it's football time. But, Rick, you got the job for being able to call the preseason games with the Commanders, something that you have done throughout your career here with Washington. I remember listening to you with Chris Cooley, Sonny Jurgensen on the radio on 980. Was this an important thing for you to continue your legacy, to bring it through from the Redskins to the Commanders?
Well, I'm in the business. I do this for a living. So you want to work. And the opportunity presented itself. Sidelines, booth, whatever. I'm built for this. It's what I do. And it's great to have an opportunity to continue to do it. And so, yeah, I'm stoked about that. It'll be 3 big weeks. But just being back in the facility and being in that mode, because your body clock, I'm a little younger than Tedrick, so I've kind of been worn out of that. And it's, camp is Carlisle, camp is Richmond, camp at home. We never had that opportunity. I thank God it's here now because I don't mind not being on 95, and spending 4 hours of my life. So it is what it is. It's football. And I just need to get this thing going because I'm desperate to see the improvement so that we can get back. We're like the Cleveland Indians to me, or formerly Indians, now the Guardian. So it's a transition. They're playing good baseball. And, again, eventually, but when you see your team in a different uniform, different name, different logos, there's a separation. And everybody, from fans and former players, there's a disconnect naturally because They're calling it something that you weren't involved with. So you inherit and adopt that. And you got to move forward, man. It's about change. You got to move forward, and it will help. Like the Guardians, I think, are helped by the fact they're playing good baseball. This is not the time to fall on your face and be in last place.
Agreed.
It's the time to be in first place. And I think that would really galvanize this whole movement. I mean, the front offices, they're doing all kinds of things promotion-wise, but none of that helps you on the field. The only thing that matters on the field, the gladiators that come out there in them helmets, and they got to get after people. And based on what I've seen, I'm encouraged.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely agree with you on that one. If we want to get FedEx rocking again, and whatever stadium comes down the line, we got to start winning and getting that stadium back, that home field advantage. But you mentioned being out there watching the tight ends, working with them, and you're encouraged with what you see. What are some things that you've seen, like the traits-wise, that you've seen on the field, and what are some things that you've seen they got to keep progressing on through camp?
Well, they're athletic. They're athletic. They can run. They're long. I mean, they're athletic. And but you got a quarterback in a third system in his third year, and
did his internet get frozen? No.
I thought that was my internet. I was like, oh man, my internet.
No, that just abruptly stopped. I was like, oh no, what happened? And that storm is hitting his house right now. You were listening to that in the background.
We got a power failure here.
There you go. Now you're back.
So, yeah. Oh yes, man. I tell you, elite power. If
there
you need
we go.
A generator, you want your house to stay lit, man. Folks, call my friends at Elite Power. And
there we go.
Yeah.
So, there you go. If you want to continue going, Doc, talking about the tight end.
Yeah, I'm just saying that the tight end position, teams are either a little long in the tooth or they're inexperienced. The only way you can stay in the middle is if you're winning, because then people keep their jobs. If you're not winning, people turn over because you're trying to revamp your team. So this is a youthful team that Carson's like an elder statesman, but you got to give him time. Yes, he's got the arm, that we haven't seen here since Kirk Cousins, being able to make every throw. But it's the third system for him in 3 years. So you got to be patient, and he's got to be patient. And the people ask me all the time, what do you think about Carson? I think I can't start judging him until he throws a pick six. Now, how he deals with that, then we'll find out who he really is. Because you come to a new job or whatever, you wear your best stuff, you come in, everything's up, everything's fine. I don't judge athletes until there's adversity. Then we find out what you're really made of. And if he can fight through some tough times and not fall apart, he's going to be fantastic because he's athletic, he's big, he's got everything. And then we were young behind him, and then Heineke, who's kind of a man sitting on the island. And I had a chance to talk with him. I said, hey, man, you just want a chance to compete. And that's what it's all about. Everybody here is trying to earn a job, from John Allen to Terry McLaurin, all of them. We got to look at this as being faceless and everybody being on the same level, because it only counts if you can do it as a team. And that's what I think they're moving towards.
Yeah, and Doc, I know what you like, and you talk about winning in the gridiron, winning in the trenches. That really being able to impose your will on the opposing team is something that's big and important for you to be in this football game. That being said, through training camp, the pads have just come on this week, so the offensive line now actually has something to grab onto. So in the trenches, what have you seen the past couple of days now that the offensive line has had pads on? Has their play improved?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they were getting stormed defensively. And now, guy like Sam Cosmi, watching him work at right tackle in his second year, he's ferocious, physical, and now they get a chance to pop. And, you're going to see Wes Schweitzer, who's one of my favorites. The big fella is at right guard. You look, two of your centers are out. And when you have your best guy who's can't help you now, and then his backup is Larson, you got Tooth, you got guys in there. They control the ball, man. They touch the ball every play. So it's pretty important to have some continuity to that position. Noel's your left guard now. He's new, big bruising guy, big physical freak. And we're looking at Shadiq Charles, potential, Leno. You look on the other side, Lucas has been nicked up a little bit. So there's going to be a lot of guys. You're going to be Chris Paul. Is he going to be able to go? We're going to find out. There's a lot of new people. They brought in tackle the other day, and I'm looking around going, well, who's that guy? And who's that guy? And once, we got about 5-6 days really to kind of figure this thing out and settle in. And then if a guy gets nicked, the next guy's got to step up. So will Carson play? I've been told you might get a quarter out of him. He needs to play with these guys. I don't want what happened last year at the linebacker position where we bring in a guy who's the #1 draft pick, and then the third preseason game, he doesn't get a snap. And then everybody goes, well, what's going on with it? Well, he's got to play. He's young. I talked to Davis. He got a chip on his shoulder.
He should. Because
he kind of got thrown under the bus.
Yeah.
And so he wants to prove it. And he's my God, he's lightning fast. When I look at him, I look at the maturity of a Cole Holcomb who stepped into a leadership position. I still believe if they're in a 4-3 front, Mayo is natural. But you don't want to depend on a guy a little long in the tooth, but I know I'm confident in his ability to play. So these are kind of things that are going to come on. And, by the fourth quarter of a preseason game, you just got to hope everybody in there is ready to play.
Yeah.
Definitely. And a guy that I'm looking forward to seeing this upcoming season is the guy that they added to the skill position, Jahan Dotson. Like you've always said multiple times on this podcast, to win in this league, you got to score points. So I definitely think he's going to help this offense. Have you had any words with him, talked to him, and what have you seen in training camp so far from him?
He's first class. He's everything you want. He's smooth. He's got they talk about catch radius. I haven't seen him miss ball. He's what you ought to be in the first round. We don't always hit it. Our second round picks have been awful, for 5 or 6 years. So it doesn't matter to me. I don't care where you're drafted. I just want to know, are you ready to play? He's ready to play. But I'm not counting on him. I mean, yeah, he's going to play. He's a player. I want to see Cam Sims continue to grow. He's the only big guy they have out there. We're not going to see these guys a lot. I mean, Terry probably wants to play. I just need Terry to show up and be at the building. I mean, he could be up in the stands. I know what he's going to do, but he's competitive and he wants to go. It's potentially four of the best athletes we've had in a long time. And so everybody thinks about the posse and what those guys did. They have that potential if the run game allows them not to have to face nickel. See, when you're trailing, all bets are off. We trail too much. We're going to be ahead. Then you're dictating coverage because you pretty much know that you can run the ball. And I love the backfield. Gibson had lost a couple of them today. He is a physical freak. Now, he's got to have ball security. He's still a receiver converting. But my goodness, he's special. McKissick, all these guys. But who are we going to –
I didn't want him to go too far because I wanted to ask him about Brian Robinson.
see, and the kid out of Alabama, he reminds me of Stephen Davis. And I'm looking for – and this guy he's all that and more. So I like that. I look at the room. I still like Patterson. And then Jonathan Williams, he plays like he just got released from San Quentin. And this dude is vicious. So I like the backs. Again, it's just a matter of who gets the opportunity. It's all about down and distance. I like to see us with a lead. And then you
Come on, stay with us. Come on, best power.
Can really execute the offense. Now, what Coach Turner gets is frightening.
Absolutely. Now, to wrap this up, Doc, I only have a couple more questions for you.
Mm-hmm.
But one player that's a favorite of ours that we've had on this show is Kam Curl. And what I saw today is, I see a different type of Kam Curl, a more exuberant, outspoken, I guess you could say. Have you seen a difference in Kam Curl, maybe not just on the field, but as a person as well?
Well, it's about confidence. He's a blue chip player, no doubt about that. But this is not for Kam Curl. This preseason, he's your starter, and you know that. Butler, this kid is ferocious. I'm looking for the puppies to come up. I might worry about Kam Curl. St. Juice and this Buffalo nickel deal. the oddities of what this defense is going to present with Jack Del Rio is multiple fronts. Turner, when you get down to Jacksonville, I think our 4-wide, 3-wide package will be just crazy because now you got McKissick and you've got Gibson, who are receivers. So I foresee us, and I'll tell you what, Cole Turner, he kind of tweaked the ham today. He's special.
Yes.
He's a red zone buster. He's long, he's athletic, he catches everything. So you can just, if they get to the Jacksonville game intact, I can't imagine the fun that both coordinators are going to have with the versatility.
Absolutely. And then you kind of briefly talked about him, but when I was at training camp today, Brian Robinson, like smash mouth football is what comes to mind every time that he gets the rock. What have you seen from Brian Robinson? If you go just a little bit more into detail with him, I mean, he's just a physical runner, isn't he?
Yeah, he really is. And I don't know if he's recorded a fumble at Alabama, but he hasn't been nicked. He's out there actively, participating. He's different, and he's more of what we've been accustomed to in our past. He's a sledgehammer, and he can catch it. He's a 3-down back, and it's good if you look at the future. You say here's Dotson, who, man, winner. Cole, winner. This kid, Rob, winner. And so you start putting these things together and saying if they get to the marketplace healthy, then you got a lot more options. Your team has improved. I judge the team from the time they walked off the field last year to now, and they're better because the guys they have, nobody's a flop. It'd be one thing if the number one receiver can't catch or if he couldn't get clearance. And now we add on, which I'm reluctant to do because I don't like to count people that aren't there. Damie Brown right now, he's suffering. He's got to play. Man, if he steps his game up, high pick, there's certain with Samuels, with Kurt, he's on a plan to where they're going to – he's almost like a pitcher. He's on a pitch count. So they're going to put him out here and allow him to gradually get in there. I don't think he's hurt. I think he's got to get confidence with his mind and stay on this pitch count because if he's there when it counts, he's got a little bit of Debo in him in that he can run the jet sweeps. You can put him a number of different places. So if I'm defending against this team and they have their weapons, it's dangerous if you're not down by 14 points. Down by 14 points, now I know you got to throw. So now I nickel you up, I double you guys. It just becomes – that's the way the game is played. The best teams play with a lead. So they hold a hand. They're holding the aces in their hand. When you're trailing, like I was telling the tight ends, I said, you got to hope you have a good team. Because if you don't have a good team, even as talented as like Cole, I'm saying to Cole Turner, they're just going to put a corner on you. If you're that good, they just put a corner on you. There's a way to stop everybody when I know what you're going to do or what you have to do. Yeah. So you want the team to be really good. Now aces comes your way. If you got a bull in the backfield and they have to respect this running game and as big and as physical as we are up front, that should be – I hope that's our advantage, but I have no idea because they don't allow me in the coaches' meetings.
Just yet.
Yeah, they never will.
Last question for you. Antonio Gibson, his first season in the NFL, he didn't have any fumbles. Last season, he kind of led the league in fumbles. And then today we talked about he had the goal line fumble. With him, I don't think that he's a fumbler, right? I don't know what the issue is, but you, through your history, your past, being around this league, do you think it's like a mental or like a physical kind of thing with Antonio Gibson?
Well, he's trying to be perfect. And you just got to play. And if you fumble, you just got to let that go and reload. Because if it gets in your mind, then we got problems. Because now you're not going to cut the way you'd like to cut. The great ones are instinctive. They don't think they just do. And right now he's trying. He's been ball security guy. He's rolling like he's got a baby in his arm. And then today, it's no different than Carson. They throw picks. Quarterback, the defense has the advantage. For the most part, until they put the pads on, they know you're not running. They should win everything. They should have a jump on it. You're not game planning them. Offense is a strategy. It's a counter. Well, this is vanilla. Defense should win. Right. If they don't win, we're in trouble. So that's why I know we're better because in the past the offense is making plays. That tells you the defense is terrible. You know what I mean? And so now our back end, I'm encouraged by the back end. They're active, and it's so competitive. It just really is refreshing for me looking at some of our past teams over the past 6-7 years. And I like the tempo. I like the feel of this football team.
It definitely has a competitive atmosphere.
Exactly.
Coach Harris drawing at John Dotson when he's mic'd up.
I love him. Coach Harris is a dream come true.
He is.
Because he's not a yeller. He's a teacher. Mm-hmm. And he's gotten it, and they're listening. They didn't cut him off. The yellers, you just cut them off. But if a guy is teaching, and he said he looks at coaching as being an instructor. Mm. And that's his philosophy. And I'm really impressed with him. He won't be here long.
He won't.
He's really special. And Coach Castillo, who's with the tight ends, man, you need a great staff to develop a great team. You don't get lucky. You can hire whoever you want to hire, but they damn sure better be good at what they do. Otherwise, your results, you can never max out. You can put anybody on your staff you want. You put your whole family on staff if you want to, but you won't win. Yeah, I can guarantee you that you won't win. They got people out there that are really good. I'm very pleased. And we haven't even talked about the specialists.
Right.
We got a legitimate super punter. We've got a guy, Joey's nailing it, kicking. We got a snapper out of Michigan who's young and getting the job done. So that battery is everything. Punter, kicker, holder, snap, all that is one thing. Now we'll find out in special teams if we got some release guys. Because with the young team, with your linebackers, you get a lot of tight ends and people that are athletic, your special teams should be upgraded because you got guys that can run. We have to cover better. Because covering is field position. We can't give it up, and we got to be very dynamic in our return game. I mean, we're the home of returners, and we got to get that. We always got to have the best return team.
I absolutely love that, Rick. I hope we do get that this season. We know we've seen a lot of guys in there, but I can't thank you enough for taking some time out with us, weathering this storm through everything with us, being able to talk some ball with us, Rick. I can't thank you enough, and congratulations again on the job opportunity. There was nobody better for it, personally, in my opinion.
Well, thank you. Well, I got to get it done, and I'm happy to be in the chair, and but I'm only as good as the product. I need a product because I need to be talking trash. You can't talk trash if you're down by 30. So I want to be going nuts over good things that I see from an aggressive standpoint. I want to be people attack dogs. I mean, we got to get some dogs out there. And I think I'm watching these guys right now with choke chains around them. I'm like, okay. Today I actually had goosebumps. Today I was out there, it's soaking wet, and I was so fired up based on watching Goal Line and watching that. I lost my mind. I was over there with the defensive guys, and they were, I mean, it's just really, you see the guy get a pick or they knock something down, they run all the way down and score, and everybody's running down with them. That's what it's all about. Mm-hmm. Playing a kid's game with enthusiasm. Okay, how much you make. If you don't win, it don't count. So it's all about winning. As long as they stay on that line, then I think they got a good chance.
My man, I can't thank you enough, Rick. Until next time, brother, I hope you have a great weekend. Stay warm, stay cool in this weather. It's going to be a hot one.
What's this, I'll be there tomorrow. We'll be at FedEx.
All right. I show up and know you guys are making dock leave.
Coach. Yeah.
Hey, man, you got to be on time.
I know. I can't help it.
JP, time, man. This train don't wait.
I'm 90% sure JP Finley cut out my power, and I had to go because he wanted to cut. I was taking his views, and so I got to talk to JP and be like, dude, why are you cutting into my views like that? Come on, dog.
There you go, man. There you go. He's a hater.
Yeah, that's what I said. I was like, come on, JP.
I love it. Rick, have a great night.
All right, guys. Till the next time, man. Appreciate it.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you, sir.
All right, good deal.
All right, everybody. That was the man, Mr. Rick Doc Walker. Which
I called JP on my Ring video on my doorbell. JP cut out. What if he did though? He might have.
No, he didn't. Now
I used his ears for satellites.
Before we are joined by our next guest, let's get the opinion in question from the Colonel himself. He wants to know, Hall, who is the leading candidate for the final tight end spot? Would it be Sammis Reyes or Curtis Hodges?
I'm gonna go Curtis Hodges. I just think that even though I think I saw that Sammis Reyes made a pretty good play over the middle today from Taylor Heineke, made a catch and run for a pretty big gain. I just think that Hodges obviously has a little bit more time under his belt playing the game than Sammis Reyes. And I just think that he's a little bit more athletic, a little bit more fine-tuned at the position right now. And doesn't mean that he can't make the practice squad. I'm talking about Sammis Reyes and keep developing. But I just think that on the active roster, or maybe even the last practice squad spot as a tight end, I think is going to go to Rodgers.
So I actually have to disagree here. I think it will go to Sammis Reyes. I think his special teams ability gives him that extra oomph. But what I saw from today, Sammis Reyes looked really good. He was executing his blocks well. There was at one point he was talking to the ref after the play, trying to get his gauge on like how not do holding call. But there was one play where it was a play action, and Sammis Reyes was hit on a cross or in between of two defenders. And the ball was right in his gullet, right in his gut. He caught it, no issues at all, and then turned upfield like he'd been doing it all along. I think that given the expedited process of Sammis Reyes and how he looks so much different now than he did last season, I think that warrants enough progress to show his talent ability and that he does warrant that fourth spot, because you can bank on Sammis Reyes coming in as an extra jumbo tight end and being able to execute that block for you, or to be able to go and get the goal line touchdown jump ball fade. He can be able to do that off of a fake or whatever, being a third tight end. So I think it would be Sammis Reyes. But look, Curtis Hodges has looked great in his own breath. It's just, I think the special teams ability, it gives Sammis just a little bit more.
Yeah, and I mean, being a blocker like that's always valuable. Sammis was fantastic blocking last year. The thing, like between those two, Rodgers and Sammis Reyes, they're both so raw, and they're both kind of like Play-Doh that you can just kind of mold in your hands. But I don't know if you guys know. I don't know if you guys know him. He's my best friend. His name's Logan Paulson. He's a really nice guy. And Logan used to actually play tight end in the NFL. A lot of people don't know that. But he used to play tight end. In fact, he likes watching tight ends. The only person who might like watching a little tight end more than him is a fitness guru, Richard Simmons. So I'm going to go with Logan's favorite player, and that's Curtis Hodges. I'm going to say Curtis Hodges he's going to do it because you guys picked the other two. So
all right, you guys had to disagree with me, man. It is what it is. Now the next question from the Colonel Reed is starting with you. Dax Milne is reportedly having a strong camp with his punt returning abilities. Do you see him making the team in this crowded wide receiver room?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I could see him stealing a spot like he stole Zach Wilson's girl for sure. Yeah. He could. He can help out so many places. I mean, losing DeAndre Carter, it kind of opens up that you need a nice shifty slot receiver. You need somebody who can get open downfield and somebody who can return punts, kicks, whatever need be. And he's a good young guy, man. Yeah, I like him. I think that the coaches are high on him, and it's always cool when you have a nice little white slot receiver. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and so you're looking at basically with the wide receiver group. Terry slotted. You got Jahan Dotson, Curtis Samuel there. You got Cam Sims as well. So there's your four. And then so you're looking at like your fifth or your sixth, right? And Diami Brown. So then you're looking at your sixth spot. And there leaves like Kelvin Harmon, Dax Milne, Alex Erickson. But I do think that Dax Milne will win that spot, and I do think his special teams ability will have a lot to do with it. Given that Dax Milne has had such a great camp. I mean, we heard, I think Logan even say that he doesn't think he's dropped a ball yet, that he's looked fantastic in camp.
Pretty sure Logan said that he hasn't dropped the ball yet.
So he's looked really good, and so with that breadth, you would feel comfortable with Dax Milne being the sixth because that special teams ability. With Alex Erickson, he doesn't give you that same comfortability as a wide receiver. He gives you more comfort as a returner, but the fact that Dax Milne can do that, I think gives him the leg up over Harmon. Even though I like Harmon a lot, I think he's great. The special teams ability is what's going to win that sixth wide receiver spot, in my personal opinion.
And being younger, possibly having more potential at this point. I mean, obviously, he can only grow. I think that should bode well for him because they're both small white guys,
Yeah, they are. I definitely think he can get that sixth spot, especially if he keeps continuing like he has been in camp. Like you guys said, he's been having a pretty strong camp. He's been winning on his one-on-one routes. He's been showing out on 9-on-9, 11-on-11s when he's gotten his opportunities. And I definitely think that he could be kind of like last year's Adam Humphries, who he just came into the game, moved the chains on third down here and there, maybe like one or two opportunities a game, but make the most out of his opportunities and keep those chains moving, which is definitely needed for this offense and for this team to put up points on the board. And obviously points win games nowadays in the NFL. So, yeah, I definitely think that Dax can secure that sixth spot and be, like I said, maybe that punt returner type of kick returner type of guy, or the Adam Humphries of last year and just get his opportunities here and there, pick and choose, and make the most of them.
Yeah, that's a good one. I agree with you. Now, our next question is from Tim Towner before we are joined by our next guest. And he wants to know, so it seems that the time has come to upgrade at linebacker hall. Would you prefer signing a free agent, or would you rather make a trade? And if a trade, would you only trade a pick, or is there a player you'd consider giving up?
I'm definitely going to go to free agent at this point. I think it's not too late to make a trade, but I think that going into next year, like you already seen they're trying to build a young team and keep a young core of guys and keep the turnover of younger guys coming in. And the only way you can do that is to keep your draft picks. So, and obviously, like if you're going to trade for a linebacker, it's going to be a late round pick, like a 5th, 6th round, 7th round pick, maybe something like that. But again, you see a guy like Cole Holcomb, he's a 5th round pick. You see a guy like Kam Curl, that's a 7th round pick. So you can definitely find those gems in the draft, and you want to have as many draft picks as possible. So I would definitely just scour the free agent market and see if there's a veteran guy out there that they see that they can fit this scheme and kind of blend into the locker room and contribute for this team. So I would go the free agent route.
Yeah, and the reason why you're saying that is because of what happened with Trey Walker, who had promised with the staff. They liked him a lot, and obviously the linebacker room is thin as it is, and him retiring suddenly after the Washington waived linebacker Drew White out of Notre Dame a couple days ago. Obviously they're thin at linebacker, but John Bostic, go, pluck him. Do it. And I know that he's slow, but if you're looking for a depth linebacker that could come in and make tackles, be able to coordinate and put people in the position, it's John Bostic. And I know that he actually went and met with the Houston Texans a couple days ago. So reach out to John Bostic. Bring him back. I know that we're all kind of flipping out about his linebacker position, but I'm pretty sure if we're talking about depth, if you bring in John Bostic, you're going to feel good about that, better about that room than it is today, just because of the veteran presence and the knowledge that he brings to the position, without a doubt. So I wouldn't trade a pick. I wouldn't do any of that. Rather just go get a vet and somebody that knows this system. And look, if you like A.J. Klein over John Bostic, that's fine. Whatever. Either one. I don't care. But let's just, if that's what they feel needs to be done, then let's do it.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at this point. I mean, I haven't taken a look at any of the linebackers that may be available for trade, but I do like the idea if you can look
like
around.
Deion Jones from Atlanta. I think
yeah,
Devin
that
Bush
would be a little bit too much.
Pittsburgh is another one.
Yeah, I mean, I'd really have to look. I mean, because Deion Jones, it's going to be fairly expensive. I mean,
he's injured
a little
as well.
bit for him. Yeah, and I mean,
Devin Bush might end up getting cut, honestly.
Yeah, well, he should just because of his stupid haircut, dude. Remember when he was drafted? That thing was horrible. It looked like he was wearing a skunk.
That was just something. That's just something that I had read, and it would make a lot of sense of why Washington is being patient with this. There's no reason to go out and flex their muscles and give big money or trade anything for any of these guys. Let's see how the cards fall, And look, at bringing somebody like Devin Bush as a depth piece, I think that'd be smart. I know Reggie Ragland is another guy whose name is out there. The former linebacker that was here before. Oh my goodness. Oh, why can't I remember his name? He got injured. The Achilles.
Reuben Foster.
Reuben Foster is another name that's out there, obviously, but that won't ever happen.
Didn't he just get a tryout somewhere with the Seahawks or something?
I think so. The Seahawks are trying out everybody, man. Colin Kaepernick, they're trying out everybody.
They're trying out Drew Lock as a quarterback.
Dude, they should trade for Jimmy G, because when you're talking about fantasy football, the Seattle wide receivers literally have fallen off of my rankings. They're just gone. I love Tyler Lockett, but I'm not going to draft Tyler Lockett with Drew Lock throwing him the football. But if they had Jimmy G, that's something I could actually invest into.
I mean, I still wouldn't.
That's an interdivision trade, but at this point, apparently, the 49ers are screwed because the fans love Jimmy Garoppolo. He's not practicing. He's there. He's giving high fives to everybody while Trey Lance stinks it up. They got to do something.
There's a former NFL scout that thinks that Jimmy Garoppolo is their best option at quarterback, and I don't know if I agree with him with that, but I would definitely say that I don't think they're going to trade him in division. I think that they're just going to wait till he gets cut and then scoop him up, but either way, he should definitely go to Seattle because Geno Smith and Drew Lock are less than signed.
That's Garoppolo. Far and away the worst quarterback situation in the league right now. The Panthers going out and getting Baker. Obviously, Baker's not really much special right now either, but at least they got a capable body in there that has some upside. And has had some success. Seahawks are just a mess right now.
Yeah, they are, and it's just
couldn't have happened to a better coach, man. Pete Carroll, stand-up guy.
Stand-up guy. Now, it's going to be really exciting, too, when Washington goes against Carolina next week in their first preseason game, being able to see Sam Howell duke it out against Matt Corral and that's to see how that flick went down. I think that we actually won that. Look, I think that I said it the day that it happened. Sam Howell in the 5th is greater than Matt Corral in the 3rd, in my personal opinion. Now let's move to our next question. This is from our Discord chat server by Andy Lockhart in the UK. Oi! With Cole Turner and also Reyes pulling hamstrings, this leaves us with 2 tight ends, Rodgers and Hodges. Are we now hamstrung at the position, pun intended, LOL? Who out of the remaining tight ends are you most looking forward to seeing play in game 1 of the preseason?
Say one more time. It started cutting out.
Oh, who are you most looking forward to see in the first preseason game at tight end, given that with all the rash of injuries, we only have 2 tight ends on the roster?
Right, and who are the 2 tight ends? Tell me that, too.
Hodges
and Rodgers, right?
Yeah.
I'm excited to see them both, baby. I'm excited to see, though, like, I really like Rodgers just because, I mean, being a former quarterback, he's got crazy athleticism. He's just learned the position, and he's got crazy upside. But, I mean, people forget that Curtis Hodges, despite being 6'8", only a few years ago transferred to become a tight end. He used to play wide receiver at Arizona State at that size. But I'm excited to see him, man. Logan's been pumping him up all off season. And I mean, to me, like on COD and on this and all that stuff. So I'm excited to see him. I'm excited to see if he's wrong like usual or if this guy's going to be good.
Yeah, that's a good one. I can't tell you who I'm excited to see, but I do say that that's a crazy situation that's happening for Washington, because in your first preseason game, you shouldn't be having your starters out there for a while already. But the fact is they only have the 2 tight ends at the moment. Logan Thomas, I saw him at training camp today, is still in a brace, but he's walking fine. So I do think that he's probably about a month away, if that. And then with Cole Turner, it looked like it was that hamstring, just looked like it was a cramp, right? And so when that happens, you're basically your guys that be playing the length of the game already in these games are now playing the full game because you don't have anybody else. And so is Washington going to have to go and sign somebody just to be able to fill these games out, which can be a problem given the fact that the rest of the offense depends on them to do well. So if you bring in a guy off the street and blows this assignment, then Sam Howell gets knocked off and his shoulder's blown up, those kind of things can happen. So I do think this is a crazy situation for Washington.
Yeah, I'm happy that Jay Gruden's not the coach and just throwing our quarterback out there behind a makeshift guy like type of line like he did to RG3 and just getting him killed in the preseason.
Right.
But I'm definitely excited to see Hodges. I think like Breed said, Logan Paul's has been talking him up, and I was just seeing him at OTAs and seeing the size and the athleticism that he has. I want to see the reps that he gets in the first preseason game, and even though it's not like good that we have injuries, on the I guess the brighter side of things, the younger guys do get a little more reps, and they get a little bit more experience. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, just hopefully nothing happens in the games to the point where we only have 1 tight end on the roster being able to play in a game. That would be horrible. But now we are joined by our next guest, Mr. Felix Trammell, the beat writer for 1340 AM Fox Sports. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, Felix. I know it was a hot one today at campus. You're probably tired, but I'm glad that you were able to join us, brother. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm still trying to recover from that heat, but it's all good.
Yeah, and first thing I wanted to get your opinion on the goal line situation today. Obviously, the offense and defense squared off today, and the defense won handedly. Everyone kind of knows about it. So kind of give us some details about that goal line. What did you see from it, and did you like it?
First, I love contact, so I loved it. For those who weren't there, the first session, they started at the 10-yard line so you could do some plays, some different things. And the offense scored on the first play. It was a pass to Gibson on the first play, and it was a touchdown. And then the defense just bowed up, man. They just started laying the wood. Offense couldn't run the ball up the middle. They tried to do some play action stuff. They covered everything, which is, it's 2 things to that. The defense is primarily healthy. With the exception of Chase Young, you have your starting defense out there. The offense, you're down 2, at that point, 3 tight ends. You're down 2, maybe 3 offensive line starters. So that's not a fair fight at that point. But you love to see the competition from both sides. So it was a good thing to see on both sides because both sides really were working hard at it, but the defense clearly won. And there was some reasoning for that. Main reason being is they're all healthy except for one person.
Definitely. A guy that I'm looking to have a breakout season this year is Montez Sweat. I know he had like a kind of a A lot of stuff happening off the field last year. He had a broken jaw, injuries and whatnot.
Funniest
So do
play
you
of the
think he's
day
going to have a
today.
bounce back year? And you think that he's going to have – I know a lot of people thought Chase Young was going to have like a crazy year last year. Do you think that Montez Sweat is kind of due for that year that Chase Young was going to have last year?
They're bookends, but they're different players. And I think we have to realize who Chase is and who Montez is. Now, to answer your question, I do think Montez is going to have a great season. Mentally, he's in a better place. Physically, he looks a little leaner. Last year, he was a little bit thicker, and then he had all the off the field stuff, and then the injuries that kind of built up on him. But he looks leaner, and he's that vocal guy on the field right now because Chase is off the field. So he's being a little bit more vocal, a little bit more feisty, and he's the one drawing the defense up, and they're following his lead. So he's played well. The first week he was manhandling Cosby. He didn't do it today. Cosby got him back today. But that's what we want to see out of both sides. But I do expect Sweat. I actually do expect Sweat to lead the team in sacks this season. I have that expectation. I think it's set up well for him with Chase missing probably the first couple games of the year. It'll be set up nicely for him to get double-digit sacks this season.
Absolutely. And then the play from today was absolutely hilarious when Carson Wentz did the rollout and Montez was chasing right behind him, yelling at him, "Get rid of it, get rid of it, get rid of it." It was terrifying because of how big and fast those dudes are, but it was hysterical to watch.
Montez is a funny dude. At training camp last year, when he fried me, he called me a Fed because I tried to take his picture and I asked him a question and him and Chase were just standing there and he was like, "What are you, a Fed?" And we were like, "Oh, what? No, what are you talking about?" But of course, all good things. The defense is supposed to be in front of the offense at this point in camp right now, so it's to be expected, especially when you're as talented as this defense. But one thing, man, that you kind of thought would change a little bit would be Antonio Gibson, shades of the 2021 season, fumbling twice, losing them both. How did the team kind of respond to that? And do you think his leash is getting a little bit shorter with his fumbling?
That's a two-pronged question. I think he had the 2 fumbles, and then he had a touchdown and goal line on a tough catch that he caught and cleared the linebackers and safeties like they were standing still. So we hear the fumbles, but then there's that side of him too. Right. But what's happening with Gibson is you have J.D. McKissick, who's an absolute stud. The team worked hard to get him back. Robinson is a running back, and he looks like a young Adrian Peterson. And I remember watching Adrian Peterson in Oklahoma, and I'm not saying he's the same player, but they're physically the body. Like Robinson looks like a safety. Right. And so you see him, and then you see Patterson, small, but a natural running back with power and speed and vision. Then you see Jonathan Williams, who didn't have a good day today, but Jonathan Williams has had a great camp. So now the things are kind of circling around. So they don't have to rely on Gibson, but Gibson has to know that there's now a fire lit because there are natural running backs behind him and they all serve a purpose. So I don't know if necessarily his leash is shorter because they still like him. They still like his versatility. There's plays he's still made, and you're like, well, that's Gibby. And then you see the 2 bad handoffs, and that's the only person I've seen Wentz have bad handoffs with. I haven't seen him have it with Patterson and McKissick, who are way shorter. Excuse me, and I've never seen him have it with Robinson. So that might just be that little mental focus. But that can cost us big, as you can remember from the Chargers game last season. That one mistake probably cost us the game against the Chargers.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That was a big, big play, and I know a lot of people gave Gibson a tough time over it, but it was warranted. Look, it's in the past. But it's hard for me to get over it, Felix, okay? But my next question for you, Dyami Brown hasn't been in the practicing the past couple of days, but I heard reports that he was absolutely exploding at camp. Has he been having a good camp so far?
He was having a good camp, and I think what helped him is having a quarterback who can throw down the field because his best attribute is depth down the field. And now that you have Carson and you have Sam Howell, who will both push the ball down the field, that allows Dyami to be more like himself. And so there was confidence there and then he aggravated what he aggravated. But there's so many talented receivers around him. He's got his spot on the team, but he just looks more confident, a little bit more assured of himself. And he knows that his role now, he can really stretch the field and expect the ball. Because if you watch some of the early games last season, you can see him running routes and see him clearing out, and you're not seeing him get an opportunity for the ball. Right. And as a young player, if they feel like they're not in that part of the offense, they kind of dial it down, and then like, maybe I should do something else. And then when they second guess yourself, it's a snowball reaction. Yeah. So Diami's had a good camp. He's been off for the last few days though, so they don't seem overly cautious, but they're being overly cautious with him because he has not practiced since they put the pads on.
That's a good sign. I'll just say that.
Right. And one of the bigger storylines coming into this offseason and this season on the defensive side of the ball was obviously the linebackers with Cole Holcomb taking over the mic, Jamin Davis having the down year and hopefully having the second year bounce back year. Now, you listen to Ron Rivera, then he's saying he's picking things up. He's moving a little bit faster. He's not thinking as much. But then you see a couple other reports on Twitter and
Felix is the one that asked Rivera the question.
Oh, was he? I didn't even know that. Yes. So explain your question to Ron Rivera and explain his answer then.
Well, I wanted to know because every 11-on-11 session has been Cole and Jamin, and they are head and shoulders above the other linebackers on this roster. So you're just used to seeing them. You're used to seeing them. And then today, Mayo comes out with the first on 11-on-11s, and I'm like, And then they went to 7-on-7s. Jamin was out there. Then they went back to 11-on-11 again, and it was Mayo. And it was like, okay, so something's up. Maybe that's when you start looking to see if he's hurt. And then you saw with his helmet on, it's like he's not hurt. So then that's what generated the question. But then Jamin turned around and had a defensive series in the goal line. That he breaks up a run in the flat. He sticks the running back in the hole on second down, and he blows up the play on third down on the pass. And you're like, that's it. That's Jamin Davis. That's what we're expecting. It's just we don't see it all the time. But I think they're still, and I don't know if this is good on him or good on the team, I think they're really still trying to find what they can do with him. And they don't know, so he doesn't know. And I said this off season that they need to use him more like Dallas used Micah Parsons and just let him do something every play. All right. On this play, you line up off the edge and just rush. On this play, you line up in middle linebacker. Anything comes across the middle, you blow it up. On this play, you go to the flat. On this, and I think that would help him just be athletic because he is an athletic guy.
You're right.
So I asked Coach Rivera that, and he was just saying it was a package deal. And then when you go back and look at what they were doing, the offense was lining up in 3 tight ends, running power run. That is Mayo's strength. Mayo is a run-stopping strength. So in that situation, Mayo would be on the field. So it made sense once you thought about it. But visually, you're like, all right, Davis is the #1 draft pick. It's time to go. So that's what led to the consternation. But I asked Coach Rivera, and he was straight up. He was like, that was a package thing. That was our heavy package. And then when you look back at what the offense was doing, they were in 3 tight ends or 2 tight ends and a fullback and a power back, and they were running all inside traps and power pulls and sweeps, which is what that heavy formation probably would lend to. So it made sense when you thought about it like that.
Okay. Right. Yeah. This secondary, it seems like it's night and day from last year. Like they're playing with so much swagger and confidence and having fun so far. What are you seeing from them, and what do you think the big difference is right now? What do you think is making them gel? First of all, that Kendall Fuller's having the best camp on the team. Right. On the team. He is everywhere. And he's attacking the ball. He's physical without using his hands. He's everywhere where he's supposed to be. I think what they realized is Fuller is the zone guy. Jackson is the man guy. And I think the switch finally went on. And with that, you haven't heard Jackson's name because that's a good thing. Haven't really tried him. He hasn't got beat. Mm-hmm. So they're going to Fuller's side. Fuller's breaking up everything. Kam Curl is the most important player on this defense. And I'm going to harp on that to the cows come home. He is what they envisioned Landon doing.
There's times I've seen him line up at linebacker.
Yep.
He's lined up at deep safety. He's lined up on the line next to Montez Sweat.
Damn.
He's blitzed. He's covered running backs and tight ends. He's gone from on the line all the way back to cover one and on the same play. So that secondary has such versatility. It's allowing St. Juste to kind of learn and get more comfortable with being the slot. And then you have Danny Johnson behind him, who really can play all three corner spots. They love Danny Johnson. He is. If someone goes down, Danny's going in.
Right.
And then you have the young guys, the 7th rounders, Christian Holmes and Percy Butler. Oh man, those kids. If you see Christian Holmes, he looks like a strong safety.
Yeah, he's big, man.
Huge.
Yeah.
So they have great depth back there, but I think they're finally really understanding roles. And a lot of that happened last year when they got Landon to where he needed to be.
Right.
And so now Landon's not there. They really can play their roles. Bobby's been great at deep safety because you haven't heard his name, because anytime the ball comes down, he knocks it down, jogs back to the huddle, nothing thing. So I think all the roles have been defined. Chris Harris is probably one of the best position coaches you'll ever see.
I'm surprised.
His energy, his teaching. It's not just the energy, it's the teaching. Right. He teaches all the time. And those players love it.
Soon. Yeah.
And they have his personality. So I think the fans will be surprised by how good the secondary is. And they're going to cover a lot of things. And if you go back and just look at what they did last year, they weren't as awful as you thought they were.
Dude, that just got me so pumped. Yeah, like the best answer. Instead of just, they're communicating. It was like everybody has a role. It's defined. They're doing it well.
It's a defined role. And then I didn't even mention Forrest comes in when they're in heavy. He plays his safety role fine, and Curl walks down. And then when they go to nickel, Forrest comes off, St. Juste comes on, Curl goes where he's supposed to go. They all know their role. And I think that's the biggest thing.
And Troy Apke's locking up the number 1 receiver for every team. So it's like,
hey, Apke's back at safety where he should have been.
Right.
And he's made plays.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm honestly, I haven't seen a secondary player that hasn't done well. And that just shows that they're being coached at such a good level.
Absolutely. Now, Felix, to wrap up this interview, I only have one more question for you. I saw Logan Thomas out there today. He was in the street clothes, looked like he had a hefty kind of brace on his left leg, but it didn't seem like he was walking gingerly or anything like that. With Logan Thomas, how far do you estimate he is from being able to suit up?
It's going to depend on Bates and Turner's health.
Okay.
Honestly. If Bates and Turner are good week 1, then Logan will probably miss a couple weeks, just so they're absolutely sure before they bring him back. If they're a little iffy, they'll bring him back sooner. Now, he has the real tight ACL, very heavy brace on, so it limits the movement some. But when you see him run, he looks fine.
Okay.
So he's probably closer. He's closer than Chase, and Chase is more of a atrophy thing. It looks like he just got to build the muscle back around the knee. The knee looks great. Like, he doesn't even wear a brace. So he looks great. He just needs to build the muscles around it. Logan looks like they just put the real big brace on just for safety because he's going to be on the inside a little bit more. And but I think he's not that far away, but they're going to be overly cautious with him because they really like the young guys they have behind him.
I got you. And I don't stalk you, Felix. I just recognize your voice when I watch every press conference, so I know who's asking the questions. That was a great one by you to Coach Rivera. I can't thank you enough for joining us again, Felix. I hope you have a great night. Enjoy your weekend. I know you're going to FedEx Field tomorrow for the practice there, obviously, but you have the off day on Sunday. So I hope you're able to enjoy your weekend, brother. I know it's been hard the past couple of days.
I appreciate it. I don't mind the heat when it's football.
Sir,
you and I both. All
I
right,
couldn't be
Felix,
outside
have
for
a good
2
one,
minutes
brother.
today. I don't know how.
All right, brother.
Appreciate it, man. Have a good weekend.
Yeah, I'll do the same.
Yeah, brother. All right, man. We just spoke with the man, Mr. Felix Trammell.
He's the best because he gives such unique views and he goes so far in depth and he makes sure that he's letting, like with the secondary, just letting you know every single player what they're doing well. And God damn, that gets you hyped.
Yeah, he's
actually coach my teams any day.
I love how he was talking about Coach Chris Harris and how such a great a teacher he is, because we had Doc Walker on and he literally said the same thing, that he's just such a great teacher, one of the best position coaches in the league. So hopefully we can keep him around here. Maybe promote him to DC eventually after Del Rio decides to move on at some point.
If he's not promoted to defensive coordinator here within the next couple of years, I would imagine he's going to get a gig.
Yeah, it was absolutely awesome to listen to Jahan Dotson being mic'd up. The Commanders released that video on YouTube today, and Coach Harris comes up to him as they're stretching. Coach Harris goes up to Jahan Dotson. He said, I'll allow you to have 2 catches today. Jahan goes, you'll allow me to have 2 catches? He said, yeah, I'll think about it. So that's just that kind of competitive nature. It obviously is absorbing around the team, and it's great to see. But to wrap up this episode, let's finish with our fan questions. Reed, I'll go to you first. This is from our guy, Tony Franchise. Any word on who has been handling return duties during camp?
Not. I mean, it's still, as far as last I checked, I haven't checked much, so somebody else can handle this one. But it's been kind of the same thing, right? Like Milne's been back there, Erickson's been back there. I know that they kind of narrowed it down to like 3 players.
Ezard and Jahan Dotson.
Right, and Dotson, he wouldn't be the primary returner. He would maybe be in like a D-Jax role where he's back there at the end of games if it's close, if we need a spark or something like that. So
yeah, absolutely. And I do think it's Milne. He catches the ball very cleanly. It looks very naturally to him. Jahan Dotson, no detriment to him. He did drop one of them in the special teams practice.
That's
Look, it is just practice. But the fact is like you're just look at it in a small sample size.
Such a reach at pick 16. Jeez.
It's just that you don't want to mortgage that. You want the kid to stay healthy. You want him to stay on the field. So I'd much rather him just stay at wide receiver and allow Milne, your 6th guy on the roster, to be able to take those duties. And yes, you're not going to get the explosion out of it, but at the same time, you're keeping your big asset healthy. And so that's more important to me. What about you, Hall?
Such a reach at 16. He dropped a punt. Like, he doesn't even deserve to be on the team. So wasn't even a first-round pick. Jesus.
Yeah.
No, you guys.
Rated receiver.
Right. I think it's going to be either Erickson or Milne. Obviously, Danny Johnson has some experience with that as well, but he's more of the kick return guy. So I think it just comes down to Erickson or Milne. And there's going to be a battle between those 2 guys, honestly, I think.
Yeah, and
then let them fight for it.
Yeah, this next question is from Mauricio Alayalo on Twitter. This going to you, Hall. Is Sammis Reyes' pass catching ability looking more natural, or is it looking clunky and mechanical?
I'm not going to lie. Only when we were at OTAs, he was riding the bike the whole time, so I didn't get to see him doing any individual drills or any 11-on-11, 7-on-7 workouts. But like I said, I was looking at Twitter today, and I saw that he caught a pass over the middle, and it seemed to look like Kyle said it looked pretty fluent, like it was like a natural process. He turned it up the field, ran it like he'd been doing it for years. So obviously he's getting better and better by the day. So hopefully he just keeps working at it and gets better and better.
Yeah, he's looking a lot better. Just based off what I have seen, it looks like he's comfortable out there, that he's supposed to be out. It doesn't look like he's a newbie anymore, kind of out of place. Everything does look natural and fluent, to your point, Mauricio.
Yeah, and I mean, being an athlete anyway, I mean, he eventually would catch on. Obviously, it's not going to be perfect every time right now, but the fact that he's showing signs, like you said, and getting it, like, remember, this is his 2nd year playing. He's played football 1 year. Like, that's incredible. That just shout out to him and his family and his big old thick lower half for being able to do that.
Let's keep this next question with you, Reed. This is from Andy Burrows. What are your top 3 things you want to see from the Commanders this season, and what will define our 2022 season?
Ooh, I want to see points scored. I want to see the defense live up to the potential, and ultimately, I want to see wins. But Carson Wentz is going to define this season. I mean, we're putting all of our trust into Carson Wentz's hands right now. We're saying, hey, we believe in you, man. We'll give you a shot. This is probably your last chance in the NFL to be a starter, so we trust you. We know you're a ginger. We don't really trust them too much, but we trust Sam Fortier. That's the only one that I really trust, but I guess I'll just let go of the reins.
My goodness, you're ridiculous.
Sam's a nice guy.
The 3 things I will look for in this season. First thing, I've been harping on this ever since last season. It's the red zone conversion rate. They have to be top 15 in the league with that if they want to be able to improve on from last season. That being said, they also have to be top 10 in turnovers on defense. They were great last season being able to force field goals and other things like that, but they got to work on taking those points away, generating more points for our team, outscoring the other offense. They have to focus on that. With turnovers, that generally that transitions into wins for teams. And then third, lastly, it's finding identity early. I think last season one of the big issues was they didn't find an identity until like the Tampa Bay four-game win streak, and it took them a long time to kind of find what they were trying to do. And so for this season, I would like for them to be able to find that continuity, that identity by week 4.
Yeah, my 3 things that I want to see this year are I want to see the offense and this team as a whole, but the offense average at least 24 points a game this season, because I definitely think that's a winning recipe going forward. If you can average 24 points, I think they'll be in good shape this season. Second thing is what Kyle said. I want to see them get back to that 2020 version of themselves where they were swatting balls at the line, getting turnovers, creating opportunities for the offense to get back on the field, which, again, will lead to more points, hopefully. And third, I want to see the young guys. I want to see the Cole Turners, the Jahan Dotsons, the Mathises, the guys that they picked in those early rounds that they said they're going to come and contribute and be big pieces. I want to see those guys come in and actually contribute, be big pieces, and show the fan base, not really me per se, but show the fan base that it has like a lot of outside noise to talk about the front office and how they're old and they're kind of past their time. I want these guys to hit so that we not only we can have a young core going forward, but it can kind of hush the naysayers that, okay, these guys kind of know what they're doing. Let them build it the way they want to build the team. And what's going to define our season, I think it's going to be the back end. I think the secondary is going to be huge. I think it's going to be a huge part of our season. Obviously, it's a passing league, and if the back end can hold up their end of the bargain, get back to that 2020 version of getting picks, getting pass breakups, being top 5, top 10, whatever it was in the league, as far as passing yards given up and whatnot, and defensive red zone efficiency, like give up field goals and not touchdowns. I definitely think that it'll bode well for the team's success, and it should drive them to 10 wins minimum.
Hopefully.
Your guys' answers were a lot more in depth than mine.
Yeah, they were.
Score points and play good defense.
I mean, honestly, that's the way we should all be looking at it, for being real. But guys, this is going to wrap us up for this episode. I can't thank you guys enough. I had a blast. I had training camp today with Katie and Cash. First time we were able to go together.
Oh yeah, did they have fun?
Yeah, Katie actually had a lot of fun. I was surprised with how many good things she had to say. I thought that she would have said, that was boring. But she was like, no, that was a great time. She was actually surprised at like the age demographic of different people there, because she thought it would just be a bunch of dudes. Right. So it's a good thing to see a lot of people there.
If it was just a bunch of dudes, I would go every week. I would go to everyone.
We know, Reed. We know. Okay, but tomorrow is the practice at FedEx Field under the lights. Everyone is very excited about it. Hall, I know you're going. Reed, are you going?
No.
Shocker.
No.
But everyone, you guys should go and get out there. I'm going to try to be able to. I had to work tomorrow. I wasn't sure if we were going to meet up with the Colonel for dinner or not. So it all depends on, we're going to see how it goes. But hopefully I can make it out there like last season, because that was a lot of fun to be able to do. Go down to the field, be close
letting
to
you
it.
guys know right now, Kyle's already going to fake on you. So don't be expecting.
I'm not Reed, guys. I'm
not fake. I say straight up I'm not going.
I know. All right, everybody. That's going to wrap us up for this episode. Shout out to CJ, who came up to me at training camp today and said he watched every episode, never misses one. I appreciate you, brother. That was really cool of you to do that. It caught me by surprise. I didn't think anybody would know who I was, but that was really cool.
Are you the one watching it like 1.3 thousand times per episode or something? Yeah. Thank you, CJ.
No, I mean, I'm one of those 1.3, so he's probably watching it 1.2.
Right.
I take that back. Yeah, probably at least like 150.
Right. All right, everybody. That's going to wrap us up for this episode. Make sure you check us out again on Monday evening as we start up. And then shout out Freddie and his father. His father is going through a tough time at this point. Freddie is as well, obviously trying to help his father through this. But we're thinking of you guys. I know that Freddie's dad was a fan of our show, and he watched almost every single one. And so we just wanted to say we're out here for you, brother. You're not doing this alone. We're thinking of you, praying for you. Hopefully everything is okay. All right, everybody. I'm Kyle.
My internet didn't cut out for the first time in God knows how long.
Right.
Yeah, clap it up. I'm home.
It's because JP was busy. Instead of cutting out your internet, he was over here cutting out my internet, trying to ruin my house.
Hall does not talk crap about JP, so why would he cut out his internet?
I don't either. I like the guy a lot. He's
a nice guy.
I'm taking his views.
He's a nice guy. All right, everybody. We'll see you again on Monday. Thank you for watching Washington Football. Woo!
Peace.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Kyle. I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. And if you liked what you saw, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. That way you get notified when anything new is uploaded to the channel. Also, we just launched theburgundyzone.com. You can go there and find all of our latest news, articles, and the latest episodes that are uploaded. Again, we also have the Discord chat server, where all of our VIP folks are in, like Andy Burrows, Scott Hartley, Sergio Martin is in there as well. Don't miss out on the Discord chat server. Go and check that out. Until next time, everybody, Washington football. Woo!